Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. How you doing? I'm Justin from the Rise Up podcast. I am here today with Mr. Arzays Davani. He is the CEO, and are you founder of the Davani Group? I just want to make sure we're doing that
Co-founder,
right. Okay.
co-founder with my wife.
All right, and the wife, so she's the boss.
She's the real boss.
She's the real boss. Well, hey, we're gonna dive into it today. Arzays, thank you so much for hanging out with me today on the Rise Up podcast. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Justin.
Okay, so I love diving in. Every episode, I start off with, kind of give me the lay of the land here. Tell me the story behind the Davani Group, what you do specifically within the luxury space, like how did it all begin, and what do you stand for today?
Sure. Well, the journey started around, I would say, 10 years ago when my wife and I were living in San Francisco at the time, and we were looking for a new venture to start. And, I come from a business background and, I've started several businesses in Dubai. And my wife is originally from Ukraine, and she had a consulting business that was, working with high-end fabricators out of Italy and helping them expand into the Eastern European market. So as we were trying to brainstorm what we can get involved with, we really, you know, s- we s- w- we saw a real gap in the market in regards of bringing European craftsmanship to the North American market. There's a huge ocean, between us, and it is very difficult for the North American market to have access to true European quality that's not like commercialized, while also, receiving a, great service. So that's where we decided to, start meeting with top architects and designers and help bring European craftsmanship to the luxury segment in the United States and Canada.
So dive into it just a bit more if you don't mind. Like, who do you serve? Like, okay, when you're bringing these, is it fair to say they're more independent or boutique brands, just not the major like brands that you would think of, right? Is that fair to say?
Well, our clients are high net worth individuals, architects, designers, and to developers and contractors. So who our clientele is depends on the type of project. Some projects we're doing, interior design, architecture, furnishing, building, installing, and other projects we are taking another designer's designs and helping execute them. So yeah, I mean, but our segment is quite niche because I would say we're working on, we've worked on anywhere from 15 million to $100 million plus residences around the world.
Dang. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I wish we can. I can't afford my own products.
Yeah. Well, maybe someday. Maybe someday. You never know. So how do your clients typically find you now? I mean, is it all referral based, or do you guys like what do you guys do to build your network of clients?
We do have it's a great question. We have very selective marketing because, when you are talking about luxury, it's important not to overexpose yourself and not to be everywhere. Is a exclusiveness associated with our brand. So we actually don't want everybody to know about us. It's, working with, certain clientele that also understand craftsmanship, understand luxury, and value what we bring to the table. So right now, it's in the beginning, it started with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and just getting our name out there, knocking on doors, and meeting architects, designers, and showing our capabilities, and eventually getting projects with them. And then from there, we're able to get referrals and build a reputation for ourselves. So right now, I would say we have um, sales consultants that travel and meet with clients all over the world. We have people that find us on Instagram, Pinterest, a lot of leads also come in internally from our website. So I guess to answer your question in short, it's a mixture of old school knocking on doors and meeting and re-meeting old clients, and then also digital, taking advantage of digital marketing as well through social media, newsletters, and other forms of video as well.
Yeah. So here's I kind of going back to some of your projects you've worked on. Like what you may or may not be able to disclose um this, and feel free to just say no, I can't talk about that if you don't want to. It's okay. I just and maybe you could, or maybe you could talk about it peripherally. Let's just put it that way. Like, what has been one of your favorite projects that you've worked on over the last 10 years?
That's tough. I will say one that comes to the one that just comes to mind because only because I just re-met with our client last week in Hawaii is a project we worked in Kauai for the Four Seasons. And I mean, it was the Four Seasons and also the residences and some of the presidential suites. And I mean, they were putting in marble sinks from us with gold leaf inside that were, upwards of $40,000 per sink. Um, Incredible marble craft, marble carved wall features. So I mean, it was just extravagant. That was Larry Ellison's project, an island. I believe he owns the island, and we were working closely with an interior design studio out of Las Vegas, and there were no expenses spared because they were even bringing out their private jet to the factory in Italy and then air freighting, to their island. And I believe actually to get to that specific island where that Four Seasons is, you have to take a separate private plane to get to that island. So you have to get to the island, and then there's a separate private plane to get to that island. So that's the one that just only because I just re-met with that client
Yeah.
last week.
Dude, that's amazing. Um, oh, it's interesting. Like, I feel like I've only had one client in the past, who said, uh, price is there's no budget. Like, do whatever you need to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty rare that that happens. That's pretty awesome, though.
Well, I'll tell you this though: price is always a factor. In fact, the more money some of our clients have, the more carefully they're looking over those numbers. But
Mm,
I think what it's important to understand is where they want to spend the money.
uh,
Even if they have billions of dollars, they have billions of dollars for a reason. They're smart with their money. They're not gonna just throw it all away. So I think it's understanding where they want to spend the money, and then maybe they uh, go for a grade B on secondary rooms and other areas that are not as important, but maybe for their bar or for their library or for their master bathroom and kitchen, they will spare no expense. But I find that it's never no budget because they'll tell you there's no budget, and then when you come back with a number, they're like, you know what, that's a little bit over budget.
you're like, okay,
So we're like, all right, we have to scale back here and here and here.
yeah,
So it's also it's a delicate dance because our clientele don't also like to talk about money. So when we try to find out what budgets are, so we can help them specify the right materials and also come up with the right design that saves them time, saves us time, they don't really want to have that discussion until we do the work, we put the number in front of them and
yeah,
they realize, you know
yeah,
what, we got, yeah, let's value engineer this or let's keep this. But
yeah.
the good thing about my team is we're extremely, comfortable in that environment of being flexible, working with the client to make sure they get what they want. That's ultimately why they come to us.
Have you always had a fascination with the luxury industry? I mean, you and your wife, even pre starting the Davani Group?
But yeah, I was completely different from them, yeah, 100% from everybody else I remember in my class. And I always just had I was just so obsessed with really nice things. Even when I couldn't afford, when I was in high school, I bought my first car. Now, I couldn't afford a brand new Mercedes, but I bought what's now a classic Mercedes in 1980 300 Super Diesel. That was a fantastic, beautiful car. I didn't spend a lot of money, but I got lucky and bought it from an old lady that had owned it for years. But yeah. So when I couldn't afford the new ones, I was buying the old ones just because I appreciated the German craftsmanship. The engineering behind it. Same thing with fashion and jewelry. I just always was obsessed with it. And I see it in my daughters now. You know, it's
Uh-oh.
something you're born with. Yeah, I know, and I have two of them.
Boy.
They love little jewelry, and not plastic. They like the real stones.
Yeah. Yeah. My daughter, I think, has a fascination with it too. Like I always say to whoever she ends up marrying, better have a pretty good sized wallet because, like she'll like we'll go to a restaurant. She wants lobster and clams and all, all the expensive
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
It's like, oh boy. Okay. Um,
my dad will tell you a funny story because when we would go to restaurants, be this 6, 7 year old boy, and I'm looking just at the prices. I order a 22 ounce T-bone steak. The waiter looks at me and is like, "Do you want a kids menu?" And I got offended. I'm like, "No, I want this." But my dad would always say, he looks at the right of the bill, not the left of the. I mean, the right of the menu, not the left of the menu.
yeah.
So I would just go in after the most expensive thing. I'm like, "Hey, Dad, you're paying, so why not?"
Poor dad. Come on, dad. Yeah. Oh,
Well,
dude.
listen, the karma's coming back to me, Justin, with two daughters now,
Yep.
that love the
Yep.
purses,
Oh yeah.
and they're only 3 and 8.
Goodness. Oh, dude, you got wait
So
till they're
I haven't got to
16.
the next stage. Yeah, I know, right?
Oh boy. That's but maybe what we would do is like maybe like, 6 years from now, we reconnect and do another podcast interview. Be like, hey, Arzays, how are your daughters doing?
Yeah, right. Or
Yeah.
how am I doing? How's my
Yeah. How are
partner
you
doing?
doing? Yeah, it's true. Oh boy.
But it goes back to like luxury isn't loud. So even then, I wasn't about like just logos and things. I was really obsessed and really paid attention to the stitching and the quality behind it because you can go to Italy and go to like a boutique. So Armani is mass produced, but you have like Italy also has all these beautiful little boutique shops that are producing them in the little workshops as opposed to mass producing them like well-known brands. So it's also important that we're not following trends and brands just because they're brands, but going after the more couture, maybe under known brands. And that's kind of how I see ourselves, more couture, where we're not known by everybody, but we're known by the select few that should know about us.
So when you're looking for partners to bring in for projects, like not your clients, but we'll call them vendors, right? Source vendors, craftsmanships or craftswomen, those kind of brands. What are you looking for? What are the indicators that you're like, yep, this is going to be a good partner for us? Just curious.
Well, we run our company by core values. So we have set core values that we live and die by. It's our DNA. And it's important that not only the people that work with us have and live by those core values, but it's also important that the suppliers that we are aligned with and we bring on also share our core values. So, for example, one of our core values is always better. And we're always looking internally to be able to improve our processes, improve, materials, designs. And it's also important that our suppliers have that because if you're working with a company or a supplier that's just very okay, just being hitting status quo, that's not aligned with what we need as we're always looking to grow, we're always looking to improve. So that's just one example of a core value, but there's several others like, be accountable. If we can't have a company that never takes responsibility, also with us, if we make a mistake, we take accountability, to by our clients, and we fix that problem. We take that initiative. If our supplier is not aligned with us, then that that that's not somebody we can work with. So it starts with knowing what our core values are and being very clear and using those core values to help identify and keep or remove suppliers that are not aligned with that
Yeah. So,
mindset.
what's interesting about what you're saying, at least to me, and I've heard it from a few other people that I've talked with recently, is if that what you just said is becoming, you would think that would be the industry norm, but it really isn't. Um, and what I've seen is, you know, people not taking accountability for it because it's much easier to point a finger at somebody else, right? Or they don't show up when they say they're going to show up. They don't do what they say they're going to do, and it becomes like, you know, like business like the Davani Group, like you guys live it out. And that's what's impressive about what you guys do. Not only the craftsmanship that you guys bring to the table and the due diligence that you guys do for that, but it's also you hold those people accountable for that. If they don't live up to your values, then they're compromising you, right? They're compromising your integrity. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Sorry, I went on a little tangent there. Sorry about that. Well,
No,
good.
you're right, because like you can put out, for example, a fantastic product. Let's talk about like the restaurant industry. They say that you can have amazing food, but poor service, and people are going to be less likely to come. But if you have mediocre food with amazing service, people are going to come back. And I think that's where Europe misses the mark, because Italy, there's nobody better in craftsmanship and design than Italy. But they don't value service like North America does. It's just not where they value. It's kind of like you have like this amazingly talented, we'll call him French, but arrogant chef in the back, and he's like, he creates you masterpiece, like, yeah, bon appetit. And you can't make one record. You can't say, oh, can I have? Oh, of course not. No, you have to have it the way it is. Like, it's service is not important. It's like it is what it is. Take it, enjoy it. So we can't operate in that in that frame,
Yeah.
and I think that's what adds our value on bridging the gap, is bringing that American service with that Italian craftsmanship.
Here's can we? I'm gonna dive into customer service just on that angle for a little bit, if you don't mind. I'd like to explore something real
Yes,
quick.
please.
Have you ever? Can you give me an example of a time where you're working on a project with a client? You don't have to name the client, but maybe give the scenario of where it required your team to go above and beyond. What did that look like? And then how did that turn out in the end?
Man, um, that's one of our core values. Actually, is going customer boutique service, going above and beyond. So we're actually the project manager is looking for a way to go above and beyond on every single uh, project, down to even the way we put samples together. We have a material librarian, and you have to see the way she puts these packages together like a present. I mean, it is the quality, the effort, into down to the smells. Thinking about the smell that's going to, then the fragrance that's going to come out when they're opening up a box of like raw samples, whether it's stone, metal, or wood, but thinking about the visual aspect, the feel, the smell. So we're thinking about that even down to the sampling process. But when it comes to an actual project, I think the latest one was a project we're working on in San Francisco, and it's a complicated spiral staircase. And we came in with a scanner, measured the entire room, and we were prepared to do our shop drawings, but we found a discrepancy with the general contractor's measurements. and they only paid for one trip for us to come out there. And as much as they were sure that they were right, we felt like we're going to have problems because the scanner doesn't lie. So we basically just went ahead and uh, flew back in at our expense and just verified the drawings. And sure enough, there was a big discrepancy in those in their sizes. Now we could have went back and said, "Look, that was your mistake. It would have caused a big problem. We got to charge you the additional $10,000 or whatever for the measurements and fee." But we decided to just listen. Let's just keep the project moving forward. So this is what we do. We go above and beyond, and not nickel and dime the clients,
Yeah. Well,
even though
because
that that
go
is
ahead.
not something that we should have been responsible for.
Yeah, and it's one thing that, I mean, you're really tapping into something here that I think, you know, is really important about business sometimes, is that, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta, you know, it's about the bigger vision versus the nickel and diming sometimes. You know what I mean? Um, and you probably could have easily come back and be like, yeah, this is a big expense. You had that option, but you chose not to, which speaks to your integrity, right? Um, as a leader, as a team, as a company, like that's what that's what that speaks more volume than coming in and being like, you're wrong, pointing the finger again, right? Um, so I don't know. I commend you on that. Um, I have we'll kind of shift gears a little bit. What kind of shifts are you seeing, in the industry right now? I mean, are tariffs kind of impacting you? Are, anything like what's going on in your world?
Well, we produce everything in Italy, so we're not hit like China and India right now in regards to the tariffs. So luckily, that has not been affected by us. But I will say, in regards of trends, we're getting requests and doing quite a bit of, and I don't want to scare your audience, but underground bunkers, luxury bunkers.
Really?
You know, I don't know if there's paranoia or, uh, our clients just are seeing something we're not seeing. But, we're seeing, definitely a demand increase and building very luxurious bunkers that are completely underground, self sufficient, bulletproof doors, and all kinds of almost like a little uh, ecoclimate, within or community on the ground. So that's been interesting to see.
Did you say community?
Kind of like a building, like you basically, there are it's basic, they're building these bunkers to be self sufficient. Where if there something happens, there is no need to, they're self sufficient for a long period of time. You know, from food, water, access, sanitary, um, fresh air. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Dude, that's nuts. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe we should be thinking about something else.
Go get
Yeah,
yourself
I
a,
don't want
a
to
piece of
rig
land and
out
a
too.
farm.
Yeah, I always joke that, I live life in a wheelchair, so you never see in a movie like an apocalypse movie, you never see a guy in a wheelchair make it. So, I'm going out quick. Boy. Um, okay, that's interesting. So a lot of underground. Okay, dude, I didn't see that one coming. Okay. Um, how do you
Also, what
feel?
we're seeing incredible. What's that?
I said, how do you feel about that?
Well, I try not to live my life with fear. So,
Yeah.
what happens, happens. I think it's just, and just important to be aware. So, for me, I think it's interesting seeing the cool designs and things like that. But this is as humans, we're just paranoid individuals. I mean, remember back in 1999, the whole Y2K thing. And then there was another thing, and there's always something. And then Nostradamus predicted this on this year, the end of the world, and then it's always going to be something.
Yeah, that's
So
true. Some
you know,
comet
come
or
on.
something, you know?
Yeah, yeah, or some meteor coming, or now the aliens are going to come take over. So yeah, whether it's true or not, it is what it is, right? Now what's funny now these days with like movies like Men in Black and things like that, and nothing seems far fetched anymore. With
Yeah,
things
that's
we're seeing
true.
on the news, nothing is far fetched.
Yeah,
and
that's
and
true.
just actually to that point, the kind of things, Justin, I'm seeing they're building in the Middle East, particularly Saudi Arabia, is like stuff out of a sci-fi movie. I mean, completely self-sufficient cities where you can get from one part of the city to another part in a matter of minutes, to like futuristic designs that look like they came out of the Jetsons, even further than the Jetsons. I mean, it is absolutely remarkable what they are building in the middle of the desert. So that is very, very cool to see.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, and so okay, I mean, are these kind of the projects uh where you got to get like clearance to go, like top secret type clearance things, or are these more like, I don't know, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, we sign NDAs. We were, very. We have some projects that are very highly confidential. And some of these bunkers that we build, we don't even know who the client is, because that's the whole point, not knowing who the client is. So yeah, I mean, also, again, being in the Middle East, you have clients like royal families and things like that. That again, they keep things. They're highly confidential people. The people we work with are not trying to flaunt their wealth. They're the hedge fund billionaires that you never hear of. You never see them on the news because they prefer to keep themselves that way and keep themselves off the radar.
Yeah,
And we have to respect that.
yeah. I I I hear you. I would too. You don't want to be in the spotlight. Well, good for them. They've earned it. So okay. Getting out of the apocalypse, let's go into into
Yeah.
like what you're I never thought we would have a conversation about that today, but here we are.
That's
What kind of stage of business are growth are you in right now? Are you kind of in refining stage? Are you in a growing stage? Are you in a attrition straight stage or refining stage? Where are you at in with the Davani Group?
I'd say we're toddlers. We're toddlers that are about to go through the growth spurt. When you're going through a growth spurt, some things can hurt. Your bones start hurting, and then you grow, and then you get adjusted, and you get situated into your own skin and body. And I think that's where we are now, just because, we, in the last 4 or 5 years, we started taking on much bigger scopes where we're doing complete villas, everything, the floors, walls, ceilings, stairs, bathrooms, kitchens, interior, exterior, where we are the general contractor's only subcontractor. So that takes a lot of resources. That takes highly competent, skilled, educated project managers, and it takes a shift in mentality, because you have to think 10x bigger. And not in regards of like volume, but in regards of what we can bring to the table.
Hmm.
So, we spent the last 4 or 5 years building that foundation and structure for us to be able to execute. And we've been very successful in being able to take on these large scope projects, from the design all the way down to the build.
Do you think like let's talk about casting vision for a second? I mean, I don't know if bear with me as I verbally process this. Is casting that vision, do you think that when you started the Davani Group that you thought too small?
I think the overall mission was there, which was it was very broad. It was to inspire. Okay. And then we accomplished that in smaller scales. But as we started reaching each milestone, our goals got bigger. So the overall intention has always been there, which was to inspire. And I think that the goals have evolved along the way, and it's become bigger in regards of who we're inspiring and the level that we are inspiring on. So intention has stayed intact, but the goals have evolved along
Mm.
the way.
So is that fair to say that's what kind of like, the Davani Group 2.0 looks like? Or is that like the next evolution of the brand?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely, it's bringing quality to home and spaces, not just home, actually. Because we work on hospitality, but it's creating the space for people to really enjoy. Because, when you think about what we do, it's so moving because we are creating spaces that create memories for lifetimes. Whether you're, working on a garden where somebody is going to propose to their future partner or, years to come, or we're building a iconic dining table that's going to be passed around for generations and generations, or we're working on um, you know, a villa for somebody that has spent their years and years working so hard, and that home may be passed on to generation and generation. So it's when we're thinking, we're not just creating products, we're thinking really intentionally about who we're delivering those to and what kind of memories are going to be created in those areas. It it gives me goosebumps, to be honest with you, because that's where we're passionate about. And it's not just product. It's like we really care because we're building things to last for thousands of years, not 10, 20, 100 years. We're coming from the world of Europe and the old world that cities have been around for 2,000. I come from originally Iran. Our culture is 2,700 years old, and we have structures in Iran that have still been around for you know for that long. So just keeping in mind building things to last is something that you know we're keeping in mind because it's not temporary. We're looking for something permanent for people to enjoy.
Yeah,
And
permanent.
and that's also goes down to the trends because we're not following trends. We're looking for something timeless.
Mm. It's interesting if you've never been in a building like from the 1600s or something, like that's just crazy. It's like you can go to Europe and be in these buildings. You're like, yeah, this building was built in 1311. You're like, what? you know, my house was built 20
Or
years
or
ago.
1100 or
Yeah,
1100. Like
I
I'm
know.
telling, it's
Yeah,
quite remarkable to see.
it is. It is. We need people like you in the world to do that because I think in a world of mass commercialism and building fast, putting up neighborhoods in 4 days, you know what I mean? Like you could tell, that if the storm comes through at a certain point, that whole neighborhood's going to be wiped out, you know. Um, but then you build something that has longevity. You put the time and the energy into it. It's going to last, right?
I think like keeping that old world mentality in regards of still looking and recruiting and training people to work with their hands because a lot of what we do is by hand, but at the same time, we have the latest machinery, CNC, wiring, water jet, like crazy machines. Now, I think what's evolving is with artificial intelligence, that's helping improve certain processes within manufacturing. But I don't believe we'll ever see the day where hear or see anything about artificial design. Those two words should never go together. That should be a sin to have those two words together because design is all about authenticity. And I think the saving grace for us um, in regards to people that are in the arts is that yeah, you can come up with the beautiful renderings and images from AI, but it's gonna lack that emotion of the artist behind that painting. You know, that's Salvatore Dali, who may have been in deep, deep pain or depression or heartbreak, or Da Vinci, who was just inspired and put out, like, whether it's tragedy, joy, that those emotions come out in the paintings, and that's why we enjoy those so much. So I don't believe AI. I think, you know, the arts are safe. Uh, for the purists that enjoy the arts,
Where
because
do you
we
see?
can't be fooled by artificial.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you. You know, that's what artistry is it's the human connection, right? Like
Yes, yes, sir.
AI can't replace that. Can't replace that the heart behind the piece, you know, whether if that's a handcrafted,
The soul,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah. Um, but where do you see outside of that, where do you see AI in your, you know, where do you see the potential in it within the industry?
Yeah, I mean, I attended a fascinating seminar and class in Berkeley a few months ago, and the you know the lecture was around artificial intelligence in manufacturing. And I think AI is going to do such an incredible job at manufacturing in regards of looking for deficiencies, improving, areas where, it can affect profitability and overall performance of, uh, the products that come out, which can affect the cost. So I think it can, again, be energy saving. It could be create more efficiency in regards of processes, and I think allows, maybe people think like, oh, maybe my job is going to be in danger, maybe the factory workers, but I feel like there's going to be additional jobs created because, the robots and things like that can do well as well. And I think were more than that to just push buttons here and there. I think that's going to also create more opportunities. I'm not afraid that these people are going to be completely jobless. We're resourceful people as humans, so there's going to be additional jobs created. We're seeing on the manufacturing side, AI is definitely making some huge steps. But also in regards of like internal, reviewing processes, down to helping content, refine some content creation. So there's just a lot of different things that I think AI has really helped. We started utilizing internally. It's been helpful for us in saving time, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you that, you know, some jobs are going to be taken away, but many jobs are going to be created at the same time. I mean, we can literally talk the whole rest of the time about just this topic, so we won't belabor
Yeah,
it too
yeah.
much. um, but kind of shifting gears just a little bit into more of a kind of marketing. Like, what is one marketing uh, channel or strategy that you like to dial in over the next 6 to 12 months?
I would say I would like to do a better job connecting more one on one with our clients, as opposed to just putting out, campaigns to our database. I'd like to find a way to emotionally connect with individuals. And we're working on that actually as we speak.
Okay, a few more questions for you, if you don't mind. If you
Yeah,
could,
absolutely.
if you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing in your business, what would that be?
I would like to learn how to hire better. I would like to learn how to hire better, but also fire better. So, they say in business, hire slow, fire fast. Um, I think, that's something we can definitely improve on as a business. Maybe we tend to keep people a little bit too long, but maybe we end up, you know, just wanting things to work with somebody in the beginning and it's not the right fit. So I think that's something we can definitely improve on. Although, we've been super lucky because we've had people with us from day one. 10 years, 9 years, 8 years, 7 years, 6 years. This is rare. And we have, our team, everybody is under 40, 50 years old. So we're a young team. And to have the young generation just stay loyal and committed to us. I think that's something we're actually really proud of. But really, that's because we've spent such a focus on culture, and that really goes to show that actually, yeah, of course, money's important, but culture is equally, if not more, important to people. If you can be paid, of course, we pay our people very well, but you know there may be another company that can pay significantly more, but they may choose to continue staying with us just because the value we bring on so many other things. They feel seen. We really truly care about, the people that work with us. And if you notice, I never say people that work, for us. It's always with us because it's truly is a collaborative and it's a family. And we care deeply about everybody, but everybody also cares deeply about each other.
Yeah. That's really
I'm really
important because
proud of that.
culture is like, I mean, as CEO and your wife, leading your team, they're looking to you to lead, but sometimes leading is giving people the opportunity to lead themselves, right? Um,
Yes.
and to have somebody stick with you for 3 plus, years, like that's saying something about you guys are doing something right. Um, when could you speak to like just peeling back the curtain on that just a bit more, if you don't mind? Can you give me an example of how do you cultivate that so that people do stick around with you for much longer? You don't have to fire people. You have people that really work with you. But give me an example of what that looks like internally.
I can't say it's one thing. I can say it's many small things. One thing we've always been remote as a company. So we've had people from all over the world working, in different offices for us. So it's very difficult. And this is well before COVID. So we've always operated in that way because my wife and I wanted to create a business where we're flexible. We're not tied to an office or a showroom. So we wanted to be very flexible to move where the business is with our remote teams. And, it's very difficult to do when people are remote. So one thing we do is we invest a lot of money and resources every year for a company retreat. So we'll fly 20 of us to Italy or Seattle, or it was Portugal one year. And we it's not just about education, it's about having fun, getting to know each other, spending time, laughing, eating good food, drinking good wine. So that's one thing we do. And also it's, unexpected check-ins and unexpected surprises when people don't expect something and, rewarding them, empowering them. And I think that's another thing that people really value is that people want to be heard. This is a need that people have. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They don't want to just be a number. So if they know that their manager or their company really cares about them, values their opinion, then they feel that they are part of something bigger and their voice really matters. And then they see those ideas get implemented. It's even more energizing and inspiring. So just a lot of these little things we do, and I think it goes a long way. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a big thing. Many small things make a difference. We have people in our house. We've invited many key members to our house, and I have them stay with us. I cook them dinner and prepare lunches. So they come and stay with our family. We don't put them in a hotel if they're in our area. We're like, no, you're going to stay with us. And we, treat them like the kings and queens they deserve to be. And, I'm serving them.
Mm. Well, it's important you mentioned earlier, they're not working for you, they're working with you. Big
Yes,
distinction.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to work with you.
We're
you
working together
you
now.
sold me, man. Looking back at your younger self, what is one piece of business advice you would give to your younger self?
Patience. Have some patience. Everything's going to work out. Like it always works out. It's not, can it work out? It will work out. And I can't say to have faith because I've always had faith. I've always had a very strong belief that I'm going to do what I need to do. And, but I would just say I wanted to do it faster. And I think meeting very successful people along the way, I've realized, and just doing a lot of personal development myself, I've realized that, hey, don't be in such a rush. It's like telling my daughter, like, she just turned 8. Like, hey, dad, when am I going to be 9? I'm like, you just turned 8 a week ago. Enjoy it. You're only going to be 8 once. You'll never be 8 again. So just like taking time and enjoying this like stage we're at, even if it's chaotic, it's like, you're going to look back and be like, man, that was fun.
Yeah.
I just going back to my wife when we were living in a 1 bedroom small apartment in San Francisco, and it was just like, man, we didn't have much, but it was super fun. And you tend to hear this from a very successful people that have financially met it, but from a happiness perspective, they were like, I was actually I was really much happier when I was sleeping on my buddy's couch, but I was working on the startup trying to make it. That for me was like the fun, like where it was fun because when you have everything, then it's everything else starts becoming normal. So the challenges are just I'm welcoming them and I'm really trying to enjoy and breathe and just be grateful for what stage I'm at because I'm never going to come back to this stage again.
That's good good advice, man. Great advice. What do you do to stay sane through everything? I mean, do you take regular breaks, or are you like you know a working dude, like you're working all the time? Like what's your I don't know, like do you do anything to keep your head on straight, as they say?
When I have my head most straight and when I'm most aligned, I'm meditating. I'm doing my breathing exercises. I have to have my physical activity. So I need to challenge myself physically because that makes me feel better and gives me the dopamine to, do my work with passion and energy. And I would say it's balance. I think being a workaholic is not going to lead me to anywhere good. I want to enjoy the time with my family. I can't just be a workaholic. It's got to be balanced with wife, kids, family, also friends. It's important to have a important social life as well. So I can't say I'm perfect, but at least I'm aware of it. So when I'm too much going in one direction, just to kind of get realigned and keep everything in perspective.
Does working with your wife help, like, in that way? Does she keep you kind of grounded, or keep you, you know, from the pendulum swinging too far?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a wild stallion on the loose, running wild, doing, and she
Yeah,
knows.
yeah. There you go.
um, so yeah, it's absolutely. She does a fantastic job, and she's much more logical than I am. So I don't know what I would do without her.
Yeah, I hear you. My wife keeps me contained and corralled as well, focused. um, we need those people in our lives to help us do that from time to time, I think.
For sure.
I have two questions for you. One is kind of semi-serious. The other one is a little bit more on the fun side, but if you'd call it fun. So semi-serious first. After kind of somebody listening to our conversation today, what is one thing that you hope somebody could walk away with after hearing your story?
I mean, I think without overthinking it, uh, faith is very important. And by faith, I don't mean you can categorize that whatever you want. Spiritual, faith in yourself, faith in your business, faith in your abilities. Because without faith, without belief, there's that's the engine, that's the gasoline that keeps us going. And I think a lot of times people mistake motivation for faith, because motivation is very temporary. Motivation dies out. Like you can be motivated to, with your New Year's goal of, losing, 15 pounds in 3 months, and then you give up after 1 month because you've lost motivation. But if you have faith and belief that I am going to do this, the motivation doesn't matter. Like you are like dead set on doing it, and you know you're going to do it, but you also know you're going to face obstacles and it's not going to be easy, but no matter what, you're going to do it. If you didn't have that faith, you're going to constantly be running out of gas, because motivation is up and down, and it's very temporary. But faith is permanent because it's a belief. It's rooted. Like I look at motivation like a feather. Like we keep getting motivated of different things. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. But until like it's rooted in some with a strong purpose, it doesn't it doesn't mean anything. And I think if we're going to talk about business, the purpose is more important than your business idea. You know, I just had a conversation with my daughter this morning. She's been asking for the last couple of months, Dad, I want a YouTube channel. I want a YouTube channel. So I finally like sat down with her and I'm like, okay, why do you want a YouTube channel? And she said, well, I want to teach other kids things. And I thought, okay, that's a good answer. It's not
There you
like I
go.
want to be famous or whatever. And I was like, well, what things do you want to teach them? So like just having her start critically thinking about the purpose of why you want to do something, um, makes you, maybe you end up thinking like, wow, I actually thought I wanted to do this, but I have no strong reasons. I just want to be famous for what? Oh, and then all these bad things come with being famous. Um, oh, but if I have a purpose, no, I want to inspire. I really want to teach kids that you can actually cook at 8 years old, or you can mix material, or be creative with or whatever. Her, having an intention and a purpose behind it, then that creates stability.
Man. Like, sounds like you got a little entrepreneur on your hands.
Yeah, I do, for sure.
Boy, that's awesome, man. Like, especially when they're that young, like eight, you said, right? She's 8 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. Okay. Last question, kind of a semi fun one. I don't know if you'd call it fun, but we'll go with that. Like, what's going on in your world? You guys going to be, like how do people get a hold of you? And then B, anything you got coming up that you guys are going to be at, like an event or anything like that. I'd be happy to put that information in the show notes. So
Sure. Thank you. Um, yeah, I mean, they can reach out. They can find us on Instagram at thedavanigroup.com. You can also find us on our website, www.thedavanigroup.com. And I would say that, moving forward, we have some new selections that are coming with our furniture brand that we're super excited about. We are also going to be opening some new offices. Um, that we're really excited. There's going to be about 3 global offices that we are looking to expand to. And you may see us at the Monaco Yacht Show if anybody's going to be there in a couple of
Ooh,
weeks.
I actually just talked with a client of mine, Dennison Yachts. They're going to be at the Monaco show too. You should check them
Nice.
out. Um,
I will. I will.
I'll connect the two of you guys. They're Bob Dennison is amazing. I interviewed him about a month ago, so he's going to be at the Monaco show too. So yeah, I'm going to be in Monaco next summer, so I'll be there too. So um, yeah,
Yep.
okay, cool. Yeah, we'll talk offline on that one. So hey, Arzays. My apologies. I told you I'd get that wrong. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, dude. I appreciate it. Appreciate your heart. Appreciate your vision for the Davani Group. Appreciate all you're doing to keep craftsmanship alive and well in this world, because we need people like you. So thank you, man, for all that you're doing, and your wife too. You know, she's she's not to be overlooked, and your team, of course. It's not all you, but I know that you have you guys are doing amazing work. And if you're checking out this podcast, check them out. I'll put links in the show notes, and you can get in touch with them. If you have a project, you have a bunker you want to design. Never thought I'd be talking about luxury bunkers. Here we are. Um, so appreciate it. Thanks for joining me on the Rise Up podcast today. Tune in next time, whoever that is, whenever that is, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. We'll see you guys. Take it easy.